What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Rich Reacts, and I'm back with another reaction. Hey, we got people who turned themselves into plastic. Let's just get into it, man. I ain't got nothing to say. Let's get into it.
Nice to see you. In order for our body to get a different shape of nose, a perfect chin, and pretty eyes, we'll need 1,000 years of evolution. Hopefully we'll get rid of these damn cuticles. Oh! Evolution! Please free us from these terrible things. So, for our body to change, it'll take tens of thousands of years. But some people don't really want to wait. And why wait when plastic surgery can always come to the aid? You can become anything, even a zombie. But what is the extent to which people are willing to go when it comes to body modifications? And where did it start? We'll get to the bottom of this. Watch the video until the end if you don't want to miss a lot of interesting things.
This ain't it.
Rhinoplasty is one of the most common cosmetic procedures in the world. It's believed that the first mention of rhinoplasty dates back to about 15th or even 16th century BC. Even back then, people wanted to change the way their noses looked. The Edwin Smith Papyrus contains quite a lot of useful medical information. This document, which may have been a guide for military surgery, describes 48 cases of injuries, fractures, wounds, dislocations, and tumors. But the problem is that it's written in hieratic, so you won't be able to decipher this valuable information. I think this here is about the nose, or here, or maybe here. Anyway, if you're an ancient Egyptian mummy, let us know. We can decode the text together. Overall, throughout the history of medicine, people have tried different methods to change the way they look. Take, for example, these pictures of World War I soldiers. At first glance, there's nothing unusual about them, but there's a little secret. The people depicted in the photo are known as broken faces. This term was coined in France to describe facially disfigured servicemen. The steel helmets that were introduced in 1915 saved many lives, but the war still left them mutilated. The famous Battle of the Somme, one of the biggest battles of World War I, is believed to have killed and injured more than 1 million people. Many of the survivors were disfigured. This book about plastic surgery was published after the war. It describes innovative techniques of suturing and skin transplantation. At that time, no one could even dream about plastic surgery. Nevertheless, the methods used were incredibly cool back then. Still, some cases were beyond the capabilities of even the best plastic surgeons of the time. Luckily, sculptors came to the rescue. The first people to help soldiers were Frances Derwent Wood and Anna Coleman Ladd. Anna created masks using photographs taken before the injury so that soldiers could literally get their faces back. First, the cast was applied to the patient's face to recreate the cheekbones, the face shape, or the eye sockets. Then a full or partial mask of galvanized copper was made. Then Anna painted the cast with colors chosen to match the patient's face. Unfortunately, the masks were very fragile and cracked after a couple of years. It's believed that not a single facial prosthesis has survived to this day. After the end of World War I, scientists began to work on anesthetics. This made operations more and more painless, which means that they were now performed more often. Needless to say, eventually, such conditions led to the development of plastic surgery. In 2018, more than 20 million plastic surgeries were performed. In the US alone, $16.5 billion was spent on plastic surgery. This is more than the GDP of countries like Monaco or Somalia. And how many operations do you think were performed to save someone's life?
Oh, hello. You must be here for your appointment. Your honey appointment. I'm here to help you add honey.
Today, if you have money, you can completely redesign your face and body. People usually change their nose, remove some moles, remake their chin, or eliminate things they don't like. But some people are so dissatisfied with their appearance that they just can't stop. After the first operation, they do another one, and then another one, and then another one, and so on. And sometimes they go too far. One of the most famous examples of such an obsession with plastic surgery is Jocelyn Wildenstein. The American socialite was born in 1940, dated several rich men, and was married to a billionaire.
Close the camera!
It's known that he loved cats, so Jocelyn wanted to make her face more cat-like with the help of plastic surgery. But the result was, well, she does vaguely resemble a cat. By the way, she denied undergoing surgery. In her own words, she looked like that thanks to her Swiss origin. Who would have thought that Cats was filmed in Geneva?
We wake up, we eat, we love, we sleep, we magnifique. We're human,
Nice.
normal.
But plastic surgery isn't simply a hobby for people who don't know how to spend their money. Sometimes the obsessive desire to remake your own
Like a
body is
vampire.
caused by a condition known as body dysmorphic disorder. Basically, a person with this disorder is always concerned about some features of their body. It's just like when you can't stop thinking that the legs of your chair are too long, for example, and you need to cut them down right now, and a little more, a little bit more. Nope, still not enough. Is it absurd? A little, but people with this disorder treat their bodies in a similar way. Sometimes being obsessed with your appearance can have terrible consequences. Some people are willing to undergo dozens of operations just to look, for example, like a cartoon character. In 2017, this girl, known as Sahar Tabar, shocked the world with her Instagram photos, and there was a pretty good reason for that. The Iranian blogger looked more like a character from Tim Burton's films than a living person. She looked like a zombie with huge lips. According to some rumors on the internet, the girl was obsessed with Angelina Jolie, and to imitate her favorite actress, had already undergone 50 plastic surgeries, and she'd also lost 40 kilograms. For some time, Tabar supported this legend and kept posting scary pictures. But later, the blogger confessed that the images were made using makeup and editing. In reality, the girl does not look like a zombie or like Jolie. Well, she really had plastic surgeries, but only 3 times. She had a nose job, Botox, and liposuction. A classic combo. But it seems the girl's prank was not appreciated by everyone.
Not at
She's
all.
now in prison, although the charges seem to have little to do with her zombie look. The transformation of Sahar Tabar was just a trick to get more followers, but there are people on our crazy planet who are really ready to turn themselves into fictional characters and spend a fortune on it. Herbert Chavez calls himself the biggest fan of Superman, and it's hard to argue with this statement. The guy has already undergone at least 26 painful operations to turn his face into an exact copy of his idol.
Look, up in the sky, it's
Imagine.
a bird.
It's a plane!
It's Superman.
Superman!
Chavez claims that
Get this man
Superman
on
has been his obsession since he was about 4 years old. It was at this age that the guy watched his first Superman movie. Now his entire house is filled with Superman merchandise. So, we weren't kidding when we said he was obsessed. But despite having many surgeries, Chavez isn't satisfied yet. He also wants lenses to
females.
permanently change the color of his eyes to blue. In addition, the guy's planning to undergo a leg lengthening procedure, which is known to be one of the most painful plastic surgeries in the world. It's good that so far there's no procedure that would make a person fly. Otherwise, Chavez would be the first in line, and that's because he thinks he's Superman. And for him, the lack of wrinkles on his body is proof of that. What can we say? True Kryptonian logic? But what about elven magic?
I will destroy you.
Is that right?
Luis Padron calls himself Plastic Prince and Moon Dreamer, and he does look like a prince. To look like a fantasy character, Luis has spent at least $50,000 on plastic surgery.
Imagine.
Padron underwent cheek liposuction, and he also got a nose job. Several laser hair removal procedures changed the shape of his lips and forehead with fillers and changed his hair growth line. And yes, he also changed the shape of his ears, because elves have to have pointy ears, right?
I thought I'd die fighting side by side with an elf.
What about side by side with a friend?
Luis even changed the color of his eyes, but he didn't like how it turned out. In other words, he needs to keep changing his appearance to get closer to his dream. Perhaps he plans to sail to Valinor or something like that. There he will definitely be very welcome.
Who knows?
But all these transformations are really expensive. In addition, each operation is very risky. You can't just let your body be cut and wait for it to be happy. That's why some people try to get rid of the things they don't like using other methods. One of the best examples can be found in Beverly Hills. Here's the Basma Hamid Clinic. When this girl was 2 years old, an accident left her with severe burns on 40% of her face. She underwent more than 100 operations, but they couldn't restore the girl's normal appearance. Her skin color was still too different. And then Basma came up with her own way to fix this. It's basically a tattoo over the scars, which holds on long enough and allows people to feel more beautiful. And Basma's method is much cheaper than any procedure for whitening the scars. And yet, despite being less expensive and safer, not everyone will dare to undergo even such a procedure. Usually people with noticeable scars simply live with them. But Tim Steiner had a different idea, but his wasn't just a tattoo, he literally sold his back. No kidding. The tattoo on his back was made by Belgian artist Wim Delvoye, and the whole work took about 40 hours. As a result, Tim got a whole painting on his back, which was also signed by the artist. But the story doesn't end there. The work, called Tim, was sold for 150,000 euros to a German art dealer, Rick Reinking. Tim himself, as the bearer of the painting, received 1/3 of the sum. My skin now belongs to Rick Reinking, he says. My back is the canvas. I am the temporary frame. And yes, everything is exactly as you thought it would be. As part of the deal, when Tim dies, the skin on his back will be removed and turned into a painting. Hopefully this collector won't try to speed up the process. Well, in the meantime, Tim has to show his tattoo sitting topless in a gallery at least 3 times a year.
Bro literally sold his back.
He just sits and lets people look at his back. And when visitors to the gallery try to talk to him, Tim doesn't move and doesn't answer. He's just a canvas for a painting by a famous artist. People can change their bodies in many different ways. Some of them are shocking, some are mesmerizing. But how do you feel about body modifications? Tell us in the comments and give us a like, subscribe to our channel, click on the...
That's it, boys, man. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Sup?